Hello everyone, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and in this video we'll do a detailed camera review of the Lumia 640XL. So the 640XL was announced in India a couple of weeks back, and this is a massive 5.7-inch phablet from Microsoft, and this can be called as probably a successor of the Lumia 1320, which was announced last year. So this device comes with a Snapdragon 400 quad-core processor with 1GB RAM and 8GB internal storage, and it has a massive 13 megapixel rear camera. So you can see the 13 megapixel rear camera has a slide projection here, and it also has the LED flash, and the speaker is located here. So that's the camera aspect, and at the front facing you have a 5 megapixel camera. Again, that's a selfie camera which we find on the Lumia 730 as well. So that's a 5 megapixel camera. So let's get started with the review. So first let's see the interface. So this has the Lumia camera interface, so we don't really have to talk about this interface. So this is a well-known interface. The Lumia camera is one of the best designed camera softwares available right now, and you can see the radial interface. You have lots of control, white balance, manual focus, ISO, exposure values, and those things are available. So you can just slide it from here and get this value. So you can also select each of these values from the top option, though that's one option. Then you have the option to switch to front facing camera. Then flash is also included. Then if you minimize this, you can see there is an option called rich capture. So once you have enabled rich capture, it will take photos in multiple exposure modes and combine these to make a photo which is truly rich in colors. So that's the rich capture. So you can enable or disable rich capture. In the settings you have the general options, that is general settings. We have the timer, bracketing, framing grids, and use default options. You can also switch to Lumia selfie camera, or the refocus app, or you can use lenses. In the photo we have the aspect ratio 16:9 or 4:3. You can also turn on living images. So we already mentioned living images when we reviewed the 930 as well as the 640. So it's kind of a GIF animation which shows images with an animation that can be viewed only on the phone though. And then you can use focus light, that's the flash settings. Then video, we have 720p recording and 1080p in different frames per second. So you can choose which is best for you. So that is the camera features. So all in all, the Lumia camera is one of the best camera options available, though there are a lot of things missing, like panorama, HDR. HDR can be related to the rich capture what is available right now in different exposure modes, and we also have the option to view the photos here. And if you go to the video mode, so here we have again white balance and exposure settings. And if you go to settings, you have this option as I said before. So that's the video capture mode. So all in all, the camera interface is pretty good and very similar to what we saw on the Lumia 640. Now moving on to the images taken using this device. So we have taken photos in daylight, we have taken close-up shots as well as low light images, and also with the flash. So here are the daylight samples. So as you can see from the daylight samples, the captures look pretty good. There is good amount of detailing, and the colors look really good, and the 13 megapixel camera is able to capture a lot of details, and the overall clarity of photos look pretty good. We can say that there is slight improvement over the 8 megapixel camera, although there isn't a noticeable difference between the 8 megapixel shooter on the 640 and the 13 megapixel on the 640XL. But overall we would say this is pretty decent phone in this price category with good details and capture. And you can see the close-up shots, so they have come pretty good. There is again great color reproduction in the photos, and they look almost like natural colors. And for extreme close-up shots, you can see there is a bokeh effect, that background gets defocused, and that effect is available here. So that's pretty useful if you're taking extreme close-ups. Then the overall clarity of the close-up shots look pretty good. So all in all, in the daylight and the close-up shots, the photo look pretty good, and they're pretty rich in terms of the overall clarity as well as the color reproduction. Now let's move to the low light images. So these are some of the low light images. So you can see here it does slightly better than the 640 in terms of the overall performance, but again it's kind of disappointing that a Lumia camera isn't able to do good low light captures. The Lumia 730, which we reviewed last year, had excellent low light abilities, and that was just a 6.7 megapixel camera. So this camera doesn't live up to the expectation of the 13 megapixel shooter, and the low light images are not really that great, and there is noise available in the photos, and they don't look really colorful. Not detailing is pretty good. So the low light ability of this camera is not that good. Now talking about the photos taken in with flash, there is pretty decent clarity in the photos, and the colors look pretty good, but again this doesn't really match up with the Lumia 730, again with a 6.7 megapixel camera. So all in all, in the low light ability, we would say this is slightly better than the 640, but it does not match up with the 730 in terms of the overall performance. Now that was the low light images. So here are some of the taken in flash as well as low light images. Now moving on to the video recording. So this can take videos in 1080p, and again the video looks pretty good. You can and there is pretty decent amount of detailing in the 1080p recording. It's not a really great recording, but still above average recording. And this also comes with a 5 megapixel front facing camera. So we hear some of the shots taken with the 5 megapixel camera, and you can see it's a pretty decent camera for selfies and video calls. Again the color quality looks pretty good, and it's pretty vibrant as well. So all in all, we can say the front camera does produce pretty good shots for selfies as well as video calls. It's a 5 megapixel shooter, and you can record videos as well. So that was the camera review of the Lumia 640XL. So all in all, we can say it's a pretty decent performance in this price range, but overall camera experience, we would say the Lumia 730 is better than the 640. So that was the camera review. Hope you liked this video. If you have any queries, drop in a comment and we'll be glad to help you out with the queries. If you like this video, do hit the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.